Well, how about that for an 8:30 a.m. wake-up call, right? PlayStation fans, you've been patient and it looks like our time is officially here. PlayStation Showcase is coming next Thursday, September 9th at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's go over what to expect at the big event. Sid Shuman made the announcement on the PlayStation blog early this morning at 8:30 a.m. sharp with the headline, "You're invited, PlayStation Showcase 2021 broadcast next Thursday. Tune in to see what's next for PlayStation 5. You've been awfully patient and we thank you for that. And now we're looking forward to showing you what we've been working on. Tune in next Thursday, September 9th at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. British Standard Time, 10 p.m. CEST Time for a look into the future of PS5. The showcase will weigh in at around 40 minutes and include updates from PlayStation Studios and some of the industry's most imaginative developers for games releasing this holiday and beyond. And stick around after the presentation to get more updates from some of the studio's teams featured in the showcase. One thing to note, PlayStation's next generation of VR won't make an appearance this time, but there will still be plenty of great PS5 games from developers large and small. We hope you can join us. It wraps up saying you can watch us live, of course, on YouTube and Twitch on their respective channels. Folks, this is going to be huge. The hype for this went insane, especially for an 8:30 a.m. tweet that I saw this morning. I was like, whoa. It's absolutely exploding. And rightfully so too. We've waited quite a long time before we've heard anything from PlayStation regarding any kind of game updates. What's really cool about this announcement is the fact that it's going to be coming almost exactly 1 year after the original PlayStation 2020 showcase that featured upcoming games for the PlayStation 5. Now we get to see how far along these games have come since then, and perhaps updates and announcements on games we haven't even heard about yet. Alright guys, so what can you expect exactly at this PlayStation Showcase event? Well, games that we haven't heard about in quite some time. I'm talking Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy. You know, we haven't heard anything about this game since the announcement of it about a year ago. So far, all we have of the game was an official reveal trailer back on the 16th of September. So I would expect to see WB Games to have some kind of update regarding this title. Additionally, we'll probably get an update regarding Horizon Forbidden West. They went ahead and announced the official release date for that game, so we can expect to see maybe like a final update on that, letting us know that they look forward for us to check out this title early next year on February 18th, 2022. That's when I know for myself I definitely have my eyes on, as I know you guys do as well. Other huge IP titles we can look forward to, of course, God of War. We haven't had any kind of updates on God of War Ragnarok. That is expected sometime hopefully next year, coming out of Sony Santa Monica. We know that this game's gonna look absolutely incredible, so hopefully we can see some kind of update on it, maybe some gameplay footage, a trailer, basically looking for anything at this point on God of War. As I've been talking about in a lot of my videos recently, Gran Turismo 7. You know, we haven't received any kind of news on Gran Turismo 7 since it was announced last year. How about a new trailer on Gran Turismo 7, maybe some gameplay, maybe a quick overview of campaign mode, the career mode within the game, and please let this game finally include damage to vehicles, as a lot of you guys have been expressing to me and as I've expressed to you as well. I want to see damage to some of these cars. It's beyond time for that to happen. Let's see what else here. You know, we haven't heard anything from Naughty Dog in a while. What are they up to? I think the last I heard was Naughty Dog was to be working on a remake, of course, for the original Last of Us game. But what about any new IPs? Are they working on anything new that we can come to expect on the PlayStation 5? We can hope to see some kind of update from them potentially during this show as well. A developer we haven't heard from since last gen is Quantic Dream. You know, the guys behind Detroit Become Human. Fantastic interactive game. If you guys haven't already, be sure to check it out. I think that we might expect to hear something from Quantic Dream. I know they're hard at work with something, as they always tend to bring fantastic interactive story gameplay to PlayStation each generation. Maybe we can hear from Quantic Dream on what they're working on with their next project. One PlayStation studio that has done fantastic work so far this generation is Insomniac Games. We saw what they did with Spider-Man Miles Morales. Additionally, and more recently, the work that they did with Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Fantastic work and utilization of the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller. What are they working on next for us? It might be a little too early since they just released Rift Apart, but maybe they can give us a little bit of a sneak peek of what project they're working on next for us. Perhaps the next Spider-Man game? Might be a little too early, but hey, we can always hope and dream. Sony Japan studio Team Asobi introduced us to Astro's Playroom with the launch of the PlayStation 5. It immediately brought us into this generation, heightening our senses with the DualSense controller. Since being announced as an official PlayStation studio just a few months ago, we know that Japan's Team Asobi studio is hard at work at some new original IPs for the PlayStation 5. What we can expect, who knows, maybe we can see a sequel to Astro's Playroom. I know I would love to dive into that. That would be fantastic, right? Maybe they can show us what they have next on till for us. Hey, if you guys are still watching this video, by the way, do me a quick favor and smash the like button below. It really helps out the channel, helps the reach grow on the video as well. Additionally, I push out content quite often regarding video games, entertainment, and technology, so you might want to go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well if you enjoy content like this. Now, I know I've mentioned this in the past, and it seems like it's going to be more of a pipe dream now than ever because I haven't heard anything of it, but to see a Metal Gear Solid remake during this event would be humongous. I really don't expect to hear any kind of an announcement for Metal Gear Solid Remake, but I'm hoping that there's maybe just a slim chance of us hearing something about this original masterpiece being remade. And speaking of remakes, you know, that rumor about a month or so ago on the Grand Theft Auto trilogy being remade, that's still hanging out there, right? Maybe PlayStation announces that during this showcase event. It would be the perfect event to showcase the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, remade, remastered, whatever you want to call it. New footage of Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and of course, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Of course, Sucker Punch, we know they've been hard at work with the expansion for Ghost of Tsushima, Iki Island, which just released not too long ago. Could they be possibly working on a sequel for Ghost of Tsushima? This is one of my most beloved games from the previous PlayStation generation. Absolutely gorgeous game. I'd love to see a sequel to this game to continue Jin Sakai's story. And what of Final Fantasy? I'm talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 and Final Fantasy 16, which was revealed officially last year. We saw a little bit of footage on Final Fantasy 16 last year in the reveal trailer that also showcased a bit of gameplay. But how far along is Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 coming along? I'd really like to see how that game is progressing. And of course, as I mentioned, we're not going to expect to see any kind of updates for PlayStation VR, and that's perfectly fine. I think PlayStation is planning to hold its own VR event probably sometime here early Q1 2022, maybe in January or February, regarding an update on PlayStation VR, its next generation of that. So, you know, just sit back, relax, and be patient as far as waiting to hear updates on that. We should have something here relatively soon on that. But I think those are just some examples of some games that we can come to expect to see at the PlayStation Showcase event coming next Thursday, September 9th. I want to hear from you though. Let me know what games you want to see and what you expect to see at this showcase event. The expectations are high, Sony. I hope you're ready, because the fans are ready to be blown away. For more PlayStation content, be sure to check out the playlist featured at the end of this video. I'm A to the P. Albert Perkins, and we will see you in the next one. Until then, and as always, peace.